Hey everybody, Sean Price here with the Price and Price Group, and it's time to go over our market stats for the last 7 days. Forgive me for the environment. I am hosting an open house, but I wanted to get these statistics out to you guys. So again, we're going through the market stats for the last 7 days so that you understand exactly what the market is doing. So as a buyer, you can write your offers appropriately and know what to expect. And as a seller, you can evaluate what offers you're receiving and know what to expect. So let's get into the numbers. So you can see in the last 7 days, the black line here, as always, is buyer activity. 2 weeks ago, it went up a little bit, and now we've had an increase in activity. So our buyer activity has started picking back up since the 4th of July weekend, and since the kids got out of school and summer has kind of kicked off, we're starting to see that buyer activity pick back up. Excuse me. We're seeing inventory is the teal line here, has kind of leveled off. Now we had this dip here, that was July 4th weekend, but if you take that dip out, you can see the inventory is kind of leveled off. And you can see buyer activity has kind of leveled off too if you take away the dip for the travel. So basically buyer activity and inventory have kind of met up with each other. So supply versus demand has become pretty even. So if you go down here to the seller's market versus the buyer's market, this gray line right here is a nice neutral market, and you can see that we're hovering around that nice neutral market. So that's what's been going on this last week. It's great for buyers because there's opportunities there. It's great for sellers when you're presenting your property appropriately and it's at the right price. You're still getting that top market value. So it's a very, very fair market right now. So buyers, when you're out looking, you're still under the possibility of facing multiple offers on a new property that just came on the market, but that is fewer and far between because you have more choices now, and you're going to be able to get at least your contingencies and not have to give everything up. So let's look at what the contracts actually look like the last 7 days. So we can see that the 39% of the properties went above asking price, 31% went at asking price. So sellers, 70% of the properties are still going at or above asking price, and then 30% went under asking price. The days on market is important. 48% of the properties went under contract in the first week, but only 39% went above asking price. So just because it's the first week, sellers, you have to be aware that you may end up just getting an at-ask offer. And if you get that, usually your first offer is going to be your best offer unless you're in a multiple offer situation. It's a good idea to really give serious consideration to that. Buyers, have your agent make sure that they're communicating with the seller's agent to see if there are multiple offers. And if there aren't, it might be safe to come in at asking price and you might be able to get that under contract. 19% of the properties went under contract in 8 to 21 days, and then 33% went over that 21-day mark. So 33% over 21 days, 30% below asking. So that 21, 22-day mark seems to be the cutoff date for when prices there are going to be below asking price offers. You've got 67% of the properties went under contract at within that 21 days. Okay, so are they still getting contingencies? Yes, your buyers, 71% got their finance contingency, 65% got their appraisal contingency, and 56 got their inspection contingency. Now this number's come down. It's been in the high 60s. It actually came down a little bit. So it tells me there was a little bit of competition, or maybe the buyers were strategic and they did a pre-offer inspection so they could submit the offer without inspection contingencies, which is a really, really good strategy. Financing versus cash, again, this is really insignificant, but 14% of the transactions in Northern Virginia were cash. There were 25% of them had seller concessions, so that's becoming a little bit more popular and is happening a little bit more often. And here's the important one, 94% of the sellers were offering buyer agent compensation. So again, this is a totally negotiable part of the contract. Sellers are not obligated to offer any kind of buyer agent compensation, but 94% did. And 83%, if you look here, 83% of those were at 2.5% above. So what that says to sellers is that while you do not have to offer compensation, if the net proceeds of an offer are good enough for you, then you may want to consider offering that compensation, because if not, that buyer is going to have to come out of pocket for the compensating their agent. They may not be able to afford that, so that may force them to go to another property that is offering compensation. So sellers, you need to keep that in mind. So overall, it's a fair market. It's a good market for buyers and sellers. It's a great time to be in the market, and just if you're a buyer and you're considering getting in the market, let us know. We can walk you through the process, and if you're a seller considering going on the market, let us know that, so we can tell you what you need to do to get your property prepared appropriately so that you can get the top market value. Okay, our number is 703-783-2143, and we will see you guys next week.